Hi Mayura, welcome to Surat and welcome to the 21 by 72 Startup Summit. And I believe Ausum being an awesome startup, I'm glad to have you here. So thank you for joining in.
Thank you so much for having me here, Shibangi.
So Mayura, can you tell us all about Ausum and what makes Ausum awesome?
I was a management consultant a few years ago. I was on 2 flights a week, working 18 hours a day, hardly sleeping, emotionally eating. And my personal life was falling apart on one side, but I got a promotion. I was like a machine. I felt invincible. I sat in a meeting, put my hand through my hair, and I was like, wow, it's a little smoother than I expected. I had a colleague who was a doctor who looked at me and said, Mayura, you have alopecia, stop stressing. I was like, Mohit, I'm going to stress more. Like, tell me how. Like, this is not going to work. So Ausum kind of was born from my own journey. We are, in our 20s, we start to hustle. It's our first job and we push our body to the limits to find out where we can land. 30s is when, your lives and responsibilities start to bear you down. You start to feel what is really going to happen. We start to see the impacts of stress as we age, and our biological aging starts at 25. We talk about stress like it's a very normalized thing. How often have you said it this week? I'm sure you've said it many, many times given the event downstairs.
Stressed. I'm getting stressed.
Stress shows up as sleep issues, anxiety, fatigue, low metabolism, low immunity. So somebody is sneezing on the other side of the room, you're down with a cold. The last 5 kilos of weight, no matter what you do, is now permanent on your scale. You've forgotten about that pair of jeans, you've thrown it away. You've slept for 8 hours, you still can't, get up and function. That's brain fatigue. Hair's falling, no matter how much biotin you're going to take. It's because your body can't absorb nutrients when you're stressed. When you're anxious, the phone rings, you're jumping out of your skin. All of these lead to type 2 diabetes. Stress leads to high cholesterol, cardiac issues, which essentially has become causes of death in India. What we're trying to do with Ausum is to build better self-care, because if we don't involve self-care, we'll enter medical care sooner, and that's what we're seeing today. It only takes a matter of 5 to 6 years when these lifestyle issues, what we talk about and start to live with, to turn into diseases. So we've got a very simple principle that Ausum was built on. We want to live happier lives, healthier lives, and live sick-free for longer. In order to do that, we have to find ways that we can preserve health. And for preservation of health, you need to understand what are some of the issues you're kind of facing. So with that in mind, we started working with plant-based supplementation. One of the big issues that we see in the wellness space today is everything is led with marketing claims. Mm-hmm. So something is advertised to you on Instagram or Facebook or word of mouth says it works for them, but it's not actually validated to understand how much, when should you take it, why should you take it. So we work in the space to create plant-based supplements which we extract from natural ingredients, run clinical studies like we would do with like a pharmaceutical study to understand how would it function on people with particular preconditions or people who don't have preconditions yet.
Right. So what kind of product line are we talking about? Are we talking about, something which is like a tea, or are we talking about something that we have to eat? What is Ausum making?
So we have 3 product lines. They start to mimic everyday food and beverages. So one of our most popular product lines are beverages. So they look like tea. They feel like it because they come in a tea bag, but they taste a little differently to tea. We use these kind of mediums to deliver that active ingredient that we've been working on. Similar to a bar, we get hungry between meals, we snack quite a bit. So we reimagine a snack bar with active ingredients in it, but you might be tasting an orange bar or a cacao bar. But what you don't realize is it's delivering you 400 milligrams of active ingredient that helps you feel calmer during the day. We do the same with a third product line, which are lattes. We power ourselves with caffeine and sugar, and we reimagine that with superfoods. So it feels like you're having like a hot cocoa, but you're delivering 1,000 milligrams of an adaptogen that makes you sleep better at night. for instance.
So you do feel like, the demography has reached the kind of stage where, all these lifestyle issues are starting to crop up and they've become like really serious for people, and they are now like, we have to take action, we have to do something about it.
Absolutely. So there's a recent study done by the National Board and WHO as well. 72% of Indians are claiming to be under high stress, which is what they're feeling, which means all the other lifestyle issues are already showing up. And these 72% of Indians are not living in tier 1 cities alone. They're tier 1, 2, and 3. Those are the kind of lives that we're living. And it's going to be very difficult to change life because that's how the environment around us is built. So there is that aspect to it. 62% of deaths today have a leading lifestyle cause in it.
Of course.
Post-COVID, everyone wants to live a better life. So you're starting to re-examine the way you are living day to day, the environmental stressors, your internal stressors as well. So these are not new issues. I'm sure our parents never felt this way. Sleep came probably more naturally to them, whereas that's not the lives we're living today.
So how are you approaching, the market? Like, you were saying 72% out there. So what's the take? Like, how should you approach the market? And, are you targeting some particular age group, or are you targeting some particular sectors or areas?
Right.
How is Ausum penetrating in India?
When we started off, we thought this was a tier 1 problem. So we come from Bangalore. So we looked at what replicates across the issues of Bangalore elsewhere. So Delhi or the NCR region, and you've got Mumbai. And we started actually doing education across social media because that's our main source of traffic as well, where you showcase how life can be lived rather than how you're currently living it. What we realized was, although 60% of our traffic orders come from these 3-4 metros that we just talked about, 40% comes from tier 2, 3 and 4 cities. Then we realized this is not a singular problem of large cities alone. So there are 2 approaches that we take. One is, of course, outreach, where we tell people that some of the situations that they're in or lives that they're leading has a different cause. Hair is not falling off because, you haven't applied hair oil. Hair might be falling off because of, what is going, you've become a pressure cooker inside. So therefore hair is falling off. These are first signs. And as soon as you start talking to them about it, they understand that they need to dig a little deeper. And social media for us, like Instagram, is a fantastic way to tell that story.
Of course.
Because people are there because they're also collecting that kind of information.
All right. So do you feel like, so India has been banking a lot on natural products, in the sense like, there are a lot of companies that claim that their products are like, Ayurvedic or organic, or I don't know. We can use so many adjectives just to define these natural products. So where do you feel that Ausum stands here? Like, India is driven and categorizing all these products. So how can Ausum compete with all these Ayurvedic, organic, and so many other things that are coming up? How can a customer understand why they should go for Ausum?
I think the approach that we take is a little different. We don't brand ourselves Ayurvedic. I mean, natural, of course, is to say that whether we're a nutraceutical, pharma grade, or natural, we go after it from a problem solution based. What the consumer ultimately cares about is, are you solving for what my problem is? It doesn't matter what label there is. Okay, homeopathy solved my problem. Then you will tell somebody homeopathy solved my problem. But the primary thing that you're going to say is,
it's all
actually,
my problem.
I'm feeling better today. It's all my problem. So what we've realized is consumers actually don't care. I think labels are great because they want to try and understand which category you fit in. So when during their shopping experience, they know which aisle to go. We're not in retail. So what happens digitally is we're catching them at the source of the problem. So they're trying to solve for, which means it comes down to more storytelling. What we say is, are you struggling to lose that 5 kilos of weight? They think we're offering a weight loss solution. They come. They understand, yeah, actually, my problem is this. No matter what I do, I've stopped eating my rasgullas or, I'm trying to find a Gujarati sweet dish which I can't remember now.
That's fine. That's fine.
And so, they realize that it's not about what they're cutting out, it's also what they're not including in their lives.
Yeah.
So they try and approach it to understand it's more holistic health. What we're trying to build towards is thought leadership about stress and its impact, and what people who have bought into the conversation realize it's not about what they're consuming, it's how they're starting to also change while they're consuming.
So, coming down to Surat and being Bangalore based, and now you're a part of our summit, which is the 21 by 72 Startup Summit. So, can you tell us a little bit about how your experience was before we sign off?
Of course. I've been to Gujarat 10 years ago as a tourist in Ahmedabad. We read a lot about Gujarat. It's a state that is one of the leading states in India today, and some of the work that comes out of it. But I haven't actually experienced Gujarat as such from a business standpoint. So when Pratik reached out to say, hey, we're doing something in Surat, we looked at it as a dual opportunity. One, of course, is to come and meet you guys, and we've only spoken on the phone.
Right.
The other part is to say, if 40% of our orders are coming from these kind of cities like Surat, even a city smaller than Surat, we need to understand how people actually live here, what are their tastes, how do we communicate to them. We come from South India, which is a very different culture, which is very different approach to business. Bangalore is very, very cosmopolitan. So you can get around with English, for example, and I've had to flex my Hindi muscle here a lot more. So for us, I think it was dual to kind of get a sense of the sense of people here, because that helps us shape our marketing better, our products better, think about how we could penetrate lives better, because I think city culture is a very, very different thing.
Yeah.
And I think we, in Instagram, everybody is a blank ghost, right? I really don't know. I think we do these a few times a year to really get out there and start talking to people. I think we've met about 500 to 600 people over the last 2 days. It's been a phenomenal experience.
It's been a pleasure having you here, Mayura. Thank you for associating with our event. And we wish you all the very best with Ausum. And I hope it just keeps growing.